Welcome to FMTrain.tv, where every day is an exciting day to be learning about FileMaker. If you go to the website called FMTrain.tv, after a short delay as the DNS resolves, you will be treated to a very wonderful website. Not as cool as Christian Schmidt's website, but it is a valuable website. Has the upcoming broadcast schedule. So I am here today to hang out with Monkey Bread Software. It's a guy who cares about the FileMaker platform. He cares about his relationship with his customers. So he's going to be here today to discuss that. Christian Schmidt is here. So I'm going to transfer command to him because he's had some amazing stuff he wanted to show us. And so I'm going to pivot to that. As a reminder for those of you who are just getting here at the last second, definitely check out our bundles we have here. We are updating, actually updating the video training. And so we're going to bring it up to date with 2124. Transfer command to Christian Schmidt. Christian Schmidt should be here. I'm going to go to Zoom.
So,
You want to share your screen, Christian Schmidt? What do
yeah.
you have for us?
So the idea was we had a nice conference in Valencia in Spain, and I made a few slides. And there is another conference coming up soon in Berlin.fmp. So I thought I could go and show the slides here, and we could discuss all these options and functionality in the plugin.
Okay, sounds good. We're getting there. Hang on, don't panic. It's all cool. There we go.
So presentation starts. Well, this is the title, my name, company name, yeah. And we come to the first slide. The MES plugin. A lot of things change. So we update people. We have videos on the website. Monkey Bread Software. Since 2006, we are making the plugin.
Okay.
So the plugin just turned 18.
Wow, long time.
Yeah, 18 years. 7,300 functions, still counting up. 350 new last year. Well, you're always asking, how many? Let me see.
By the way, so let me just do this arbitrarily here real quick for Christian real quick. So Monkey Bread plugin, why is Christian here and why do we care? So there are anything you buy in world won't have every feature that you want in it, right? Nor should it really have every esoteric feature. However, there are a lot of things in the Claris FileMaker platform that are not in there that they just don't have time to build, and Christian Schmidt writes a plugin that delivers this functionality to us. That's why he says he has 7,300 functions it does. These are 7,300 different calls. I would probably divide that number by 10 because a lot of times you'll have a topic like a PDF something and there'll be 10 of different commands that do kind of that you need to do this thing. So there's legitimately probably 730 real practical business things you can do with this plugin. And he's got all these sample files that show us how to do it. And this product is so inexpensive. It's like $1.10 per user per month. It's stupid cheap for what it gives you. I could not. The helicopter people are cranky. They're older. They don't like tech, and they would not put up with the that Claris has given them. If it wasn't for Monkey Bread, they would have thrown it out, right? Because we solved essential problems with the Claris FileMaker platform that only Monkey Bread was going to do. And he shows up here. He trains us. He gives us coaching on this, helps us be successful. I mean, everyone watching the live stream. So I encourage you to. It's effectively a free product. In fact, it does have a free level to it, but the paid level is $1.10 or $1.20 US dollars per user per month. That's nothing. So feel free to support him and do that, right? I really mean that seriously. So he can continue. I just want to frame this as why we're talking about monkey spread. I like monkey spread. It's a more nasty way of thinking about the product, but yeah, it's the idea that you take monkeys and you grind them up and sell them and put them on bread. So there you go. Keep going.
So 169 functions new in this year.
Yep.
And these functions are there because someone asked for it. I have a ton of clients and they constantly need new functions.
Are your customers happy?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We make things possible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Over 600 example databases. So in most cases, you can just open the example, play with it, copy the script into your database and be happy.
I like that.
So the plugin comes as one plugin file.
Okay.
And you know other people making plugins, they may deliver.
We don't
Yeah,
talk
then it
about he
delivers
who shall
several
not be
files.
named, right? So,
MBS plugin comes as one file, so it's just one file you drag into the extensions folder for your client, for your server. That makes it easy to use.
so you said you could
Uh,
put it on your server, right? So you're telling me you could put the plugin actually on the FileMaker server. Is that a true statement?
yes.
Okay. And if you do that, then that server can do the really amazing things for you instead of your client. And for those of you wondering about FileMaker Go, FileMaker Go can't really run plugins, so you need to connect to a solution on the server and have the server run the plugin for you. So that's how you get around that. So, all right.
So sometimes people ask why the plugin is so big, because, well, we have a lot of functions and only the parts you actually use are loaded and active. So if you just drop in the plugin, even if the plugin is maybe 50 megabytes, it will only use 1 megabyte more with FileMaker compared to if you don't have the plugin installed. It's easy to install and update because it's just one file, and you can actually use a script to install the plugin. We have a sample file for that,
Yeah,
so you can automate.
David Angel has a question. So you can install Monkey Bread plugin, and you can. There's three different spots, and I'm going to make the window slightly smaller here so I can wave my hands briefly. This came up in a conversation today. Hang on, let me turn off the annotation here.
I think we have that on the next slide.
Do you have that? All right, yeah. So real quick, hold right here. If this is it, and so there are essentially, long story short, there are six, and I was talking to Claire's Engineering about this. There are six different ways to trigger a script that run on FileMaker server. So I'm not talking about a script on Pro or Web or Pro or Go, but a script running on FileMaker server. If a script is executing on the FileMaker server hardware, it having access to the Monkey Bread plugin is really a great thing. I love that. And so the idea is that you would install. Now there are three different places to install Monkey Bread on a FileMaker server. Those are three different like extension folders where that the FileMaker server might look for the plugin, because remember, there's six ways of triggering a script on FileMaker server, but under the hood, there's really three separate invisible engines. Basically, you can think of them as invisible versions of FileMaker Pro. You can't see them. They're there. They will run a script for you, but there's three of them, and each one has its own extension folder for plugins. And so it's a little propeller head, but you put them in there. So you could have a script that's scheduled. This is to David Angel's question. You have a script that's scheduled on the server, runs every hour or runs once at midnight or something, right? You have PSauce, which I use all the time, like crack, right? It's perform script on server. The client tells the server to run the script. The script runs on the server. If the plugin's there, it can use the Monkey Bread plugin to do stuff, right? So to David Angel, yes. So
the plugin supports several versions of FileMaker. So technically, you can still run the current plugin on FileMaker 7 if you need, up to the current version. I have to update the plugin from time to time to add support for the new versions because, well, Claris changes things. They make new plugin SDK versions. I have to adjust. Sometimes they change something on the user interface or on some SQL functions, and I have to adapt. Then you can install the plugin on FileMaker Pro locally on Windows or Mac by putting it in the extension folder. On the server, we have this three folders. There's the script engine to run a perform script on server and scheduled scripts, and then the data API has its own process as well as WebDirect. And if you have WebDirect on a different computer, please also install it there. So if you use this feature with FileMaker server and WebDirect servers, you have to install the plugin everywhere. The plugin supports macOS, Windows, and Linux. This includes the Ubuntu versions with ARM and Intel. We had previous live streams about the FileMaker iOS SDK, where you can actually use the plugin on your iOS app and use it on iPhone, iPad, macOS, and Vision Pro.
So to clarify for David Angel's question, he's asking the question about if you call the script on FileMaker server. So if you call PSauce, perform script on server, The server is going to, you're basically telling the server to run a script in a file. It has a username and password to open and access the file. And you can pass it a script parameter, which is a block of text that, or you don't have to pass it anything. But the point is the server is doing it without your intervention. The FileMaker server cannot take advantage of plugins you have installed locally on your client. So if you have a plugin installed on your Windows computer, your Mac computer, and you tell PSOS to run, the script is running on the FileMaker server, the plugin isn't there. So if you want to access any plugin, but we're talking about Monkey Bread right now, you would need to install the FileMaker server plugin for that as a general rule. Now, I have a question. If you have a Mac, for example, if you have a Mac server and a Mac client, is it the same plugin for both, or is it?
Yes,
It is. Okay. But there
same
are,
file.
and there's Windows 64-bit, right? And
Yeah.
that's the same for the server too. So both the same.
Yes.
And then you have Linux plugin,
For Linux, we have two versions. We have the Intel and the ARM version,
Intel and ARM. Okay, got it.
also two CPU architectures.
Yep.
And the
Okay.
data API process also does the OData, if I'm correct. So you could use the plugin there.
Okay.
But sometimes people get confused because there are three different folders you have to install plugins into.
Mhm.
And because those are three different processes, if you use functions like variables managed by the MBS plugin, you have three different namespaces for these variables. They can't see each other. So this can be difficult sometimes.
Okay. Yep. That's fine. We've covered that before. But if people listen, if anyone has questions, please ask. Okay.
Yeah, but
All
we
right.
also have shared memory functions. So if you need to exchange data between those three processes in memory, you can do that with the plugin.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So next thing, FileMaker Go with Perform Script on Server. We have some examples for this. Like for example, on FileMaker Go, you can put some text in, then you can trigger a script on the server to make a barcode. And with the Perform Script on Server, you pass in your record ID, so it can go to the same record, make the picture of the barcode, put it in the record, and you see it in FileMaker Go. MBS plugin actually has only one function in the function dialog or one script step to trigger the plugin.
Okay.
People ask why we do that. Well, simply, if you load 7,000 functions into FileMaker directly, which I made for a test, it takes something like 30 seconds to just open the dialog.
Ugh.
As FileMaker has to put all the functions in the list.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Not practical. So the first parameter is the actual function name. We have this little dispatcher, which looks up a table to find the function pointer for the function name. And we have actually functions to remove functions from this list. So if you don't like to have 7,000 functions available because you only use 100, you can disable all the other functions. So they can no longer be called. Your function name can come from a calculation or from a field. So we had a client who put all this DynaPDF calls into fields. So the user can actually go to these records and edit them. So you can change the numbers used for the function calls. You can always check for an error with the isError function. And so the plugin keeps the error state per script. So you can actually see if the last function call returned an error, even if you are running several scripts on a server in parallel. And the error messages have an MBS prefix.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick since we're here. So error code, because the way FileMaker does error codes is normally a little backwards. So you're like 360 Works educated me on this, but I think it's the same with you, is that a error code 0 in FileMaker means there's no error, but most other places means that's an error, right? So do you...
Well, our problem is that if we return an error code back, FileMaker will show it to you as a question mark. And that confuses a lot of people because they would have to call get last error to get the number.
Okay.
So I stopped returning error codes very early in the plugin and just returned error messages. But then people needed to actually check, does my answer start with MBS in brackets? So we started to carry on this is error flag. So if a function returns an error, we set the flag, and you can check for the flag the next call. And then we got scripts running on server, and the error state would be would need some work to get it per thread. So you can actually have several scripts in parallel, and every script has its own error state. But we had another live stream about error handling a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I don't think I was there for that, so I'm a bad person. So yeah, okay.
So to help you, we have functions like clear error. So you can actually, on the start of the script, you can clear the error state. Then on the end of the script, you can call head errors to see if any function returned an error in between, and then get the error log with the function calls and the results. This is very useful if you have a script calling hundreds of MBS functions and you like to get a protocol about the errors. Then we have a lot of reference parameters. That means a function may give you a number for an object, and the next function takes this number to reference the same object. And then usually there's a release function to get rid of the object on the end. If you forgot to release them, you may run out of memory eventually. Okay, next thing, maintenance. I have to do a lot of maintenance work. The older the plugin gets, the more things need to be updated to keep them running. So I update the plugin regularly for new FileMaker versions. I already did some things for the next version. So don't expect an old plugin to run there. Then I added the ARM version for Linux. And it's all one plugin for all the Ubuntu versions. And that's actually some work. Because with FileMaker Server itself, you have to download the right version for the right Ubuntu version you have. So they can't or they're not interested in supporting one build for all the versions. And I regularly have to update the open source libraries. And this includes a bigger update last year with OpenSSL 3.1, where we actually had to move up to get the new ciphers for talking to newer servers with up-to-date SSL protocols. And on this way, some older ciphers got disabled, and some clients sometimes run into this, and then we have to enable back the old ciphers on demand. Then let's talk what we changed in data PDF. If you have a client asking you for something like PDF-A, PDF-UA in different versions, you can use the plugin to produce such a PDF.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My customers are not smart enough to ask for that. So as a normal brand new FileMaker person, I'm gonna ask this question. I'm working with FileMaker and I want to save as a PDF. What's this PDF-A4 UA1 X-ray alpha?
So PDF-A is for archiving, and PDF-UA is the universal access version. And the thing is, usually you would see some government maybe writing you a requirement list of what you should do, and you should output your PDFs in PDF-UA1 format. And if you can't do that, you can't get the contract.
Okay, so let me ask a question. So if I go FileMaker, save a copy as PDF, it doesn't tell me any of this stuff. What version does FileMaker kick out? Pro or server for that matter. I mean, you could just give us the answer, we'd believe you, but if you want to show us, that's fine. Options. Okay.
Yeah, I go here and look for.
Yeah, see, it doesn't say. No, it doesn't say nothing.
Okay.
That's why I asked the question. I'm not that stupid.
No, it's a fantastic question.
Fantastic.
Because we actually have to look up and see what did it output here. Okay, PDF 1.6.
So let me back up. So 1.6 is different than the UA1. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there are different levels. Actually, there's not just the version level. There's this different standards on top of it. So you could have a PDF in 1.6 and then have it apply the rules for being a PDFA, which defines which things must be there and which things can't be in the PDF.
Okay.
Like PDF-A is the archive format, so you need to embed all the fonts. There are some interactive things you can't do.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Some transparency things are usually troublesome. But well, the plugin can help you with the conversion and saving in the right standard.
So the short version is that these are things we might have to worry about depending on the customer, and if we do, then Monkey Bread helps us with that. Okay, good.
Yeah. Then we had the functions for JavaScript actions. So if you'd like to build a button in a PDF to do something, you can do that with a plugin. And we had a live stream about that to, for example, send a form to the server. And we had a live stream about adding PDF attachments with an action. So you could build a PDF that contains other PDF files or other whatever files. And then you can open the PDF from your start PDF. Basically, you can have a library of PDF files in one file and then open them with an action. And we had the submit and reset buttons for forms. So you can actually have a form there for people to fill out, and they click a submit button and send it to the server.
So let me help everyone with that real quick. So you can have a PDF form, and you press the submit, and it can roll that data up as for the data API in FileMaker and send it kind of as a.
There are two different modes. One is to just send the raw PDF with the field values, and the other one is to send an XML file just with data.
With the XML for the XML gateway, that's the old one.
No, it's not FileMaker specific. It's just it sends it to an URL. You can put, for example, a PHP script there, which takes this file, accepts it, and then pushes it to the FileMaker database. We had this clients that make a PDF, put in the customer record, name, street, email, sends it to the customer and tells them, if you like to change your things, then please update the PDF form, and they can click submit, and it goes to the server automatically.
All right, so the PDF conversation is a very popular conversation. So there were two questions here. One of them just disappeared. They were asking the difference in PDFs, and suddenly, oh yeah, A Colburn 73 says, here's the question: are archive PDFs smaller in size? What's the difference? Question mark.
They're not smaller in size. They have to embed all the fonts at least. Let me see.
So AC73, right? Yeah, see here? Yeah. So a lot of PDFs that we kick out may not have the fonts in them, so they look a little different from computer to computer. An archive PDF, which might be 20 or 30 years old at some point, they're going to want to include the fonts and anything other dependencies so it can be created properly. But it makes for a fat file. So archive is more reliable long term, but it's probably bigger. So
let me see. There's a list of PDF asyncs.
It's pretty technical, as you can see from the page here.
Yeah.
Looks like the standard is now up to 1.7, right? So we're on 1.6.
Oh, yeah. So PDF A1B. So, and then you're allowed to use alpha for drawing something. You don't allow transparency group, no layers, no annotations. Form fields will be flattened. Your ICC profiles must be version 2 or higher, okay, but not version 4 for PDF A1. Your PDF A file can't be encrypted. Then PDF A2 has some more restrictions, like overprint. The other things, if you are in the printing industry, you know that.
Okay.
But if you want to keep a PDF for 10 years and still print it after 10 years, it's very important that it's not encrypted, that it contains all the font files, and but it doesn't have any 3D animation that you may not be able to play later.
Yeah. Any dependencies on tech that might be transient technology.
Uh,
Code to Go says archive PDFs cannot be edited. And once again, he said in theory, and I would agree with that because about the time you say nothing can be edited, someone writes a hack to get around it. So,
yeah,
um,
we can also sign the PDFs, so you can digitally sign them, so you can later prove that they have not been changed.
okay. WJ Warner on YouTube has a question. Is the MBS with DynaPDF able to work with Adobe portfolios, parentheses, Adobe's proprietary format of combining PDFs into one Adobe archive? Have you done it?
I don't think that.
I don't think you've been asked that yet. Adobe portfolios. I've never played with that, WJ, but it's good. That's why we all get together here. We hear about things, and answer is not yet, but there'll be a function for it. If you're a customer and you ask him, he might build it for you. You never know.
Okay, we may check that out. So the next thing is the plugin can convert style text from FileMaker into the format used by DynaPDF and then output it over several pages if needed. And we have all the examples there for PDF invoices, Vector X in France, Zugpferd in Germany. So if you have the need to build PDFs with embedded XML files for electronic invoices, you can use that with the plugin. And you can extract the XML. Then we have the DynaPDF parser, which is showed in a previous live stream to extract, find, and replace text. This allows you to have a sample PDF from your customer and then just go and find and search, find and replace text so the customer can change the PDF. You can find where the found text is and, for example, apply a highlighting effect, or you can delete text in a rectangular area to hide the text and remove it physically from the PDF. The lawyers like that.
Wait, is that actually delineating, or is that you just putting an object over the text when you?
No, it's actually removing the text so you can't find it
Okay,
anymore.
okay, right.
And if you avoid new text, you can define an alternative font, because if the font embedded in the PDF document is not on your system, it may be difficult to get all the characters for writing new text.
And that's part of that conversation we just had about archived PDFs, right? So for archiving, they want to be able to have them reproduced precisely, and that's why you embed the fonts. But that adds size or girth. It adds girth to the font.
Yeah,
PDF
but
file.
still, we don't embed all the characters. We just embed the characters used in the PDF.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's called font subsetting, because a font file can be huge. You may
Oh
have
yeah.
fonts that are 40 megabytes big, and you want to make a 10 kilobyte PDF from that.
Mm,
So if you only use a handful of characters, you
mm.
can just include those.
All right.
So next thing we talk about is
Yeah, it's the overlay,
overlays.
which lends itself to transient notifications, which I've yet to build. We need to build that into starting points.
Yeah, so you can have a custom window without any widgets from this operation system, and it can be transparent. You provide the content with a picture. You get triggers for mouse clicks, enter, exit, so you can react to the mouse. You can position it using coordinates on screen or with a control and FileMaker.
Yeah, there was a whole
And
live stream on this one. This is a good one. Yeah.
And it can be used for splash screens, tutorials, navigation, guiding lines, context help, and whatever you like to do with it. Like, I love it to use to make little arrows pointing to things on screen. So you can say, click here.
Mm.
Then we have the web viewer, and we got functions to run JavaScript synchronously and asynchronously. So you know that FileMaker has some features to trigger a function in JavaScript, but the plugin can just run any calculation, and with synchronously you can get the result right away. So you
All right,
don't need
so
to wait for a trigger.
let me intervene here. So for those of you who are more like a little more in the beginner side of things, synchronously versus asynchronously, does anyone not understand that? Please raise your hand.
Mhm.
Margaret, do you understand the difference in those two?
No, run it by me.
All right, so synchronously, so when you run a script in FileMaker, just like a script, we talk about the mechanics of scripting real quick. I'm going to wave my hands. This is your big chance to have a drink, Christian. You run a script, and the script starts running line one, and it goes down the script in it. So it's a very linear sequence, top to bottom. It doesn't jump out or jump. I mean, if you jumped other subscripts, you could line all the lines of code out. It's going to do them in a precise order. For it does this, then it does this, it does this. That's synchronous, right? Even if you call another system, like if we do PSauce and we say PSauce please run, and if we check the box says wait for PSauce to complete, it's a synchronous execution. So we might have sent the command, we did some code, then we told the server to do some stuff. We're going to wait till it comes back and says it gives us the results, then we will continue. However, if you are starting a process and it's going up the screen and then it forks and splits and you have two processes going at the same time, and then three or four processes, they're running asynchronously. They're running parallel to each other. That it could be good, but if at the end you need to have it all done, and you need to assure that all two or three or four or five parallel processes are done, you have to find some way of making sure that you're at the end, all of those have been completed. As a beginning developer, we don't worry about that. We just do it synchronously. The reason we would do asynchronously because things go faster. For example, you're flipping through a list view and you have containers on the list view, and you can see the records, and then there might be a little delay as FileMaker starts rendering the images as the thumbnails. That thumbnailing is an asynchronous process. It's doing it parallel as much as it can, so it doesn't slow you down from scrolling up or down the screen. There's times where you don't want to wait, right? Oh, draw it when, like you load a web page and you can scroll up and down and the images load when they eventually get there, right? That's asynchronous, right? So just understand that. That's for
So what we like to do is we like to load a website, and then we may ask for several texts on the website. And we don't want to trigger a script for every answer, but we want to get the answer right away into a variable. So the plugin can run the JavaScript, wait for it to finish, and then give us a result. We have functions to print to PDF on Mac and Windows. So if you show, let's say, a HTML page in a web viewer, for example, an invoice, and you like to make a PDF from it, you can do that with the plugin. There are a couple of print parameters like layout, portrait or landscape, or margins, or which printer to use if you print to a real printer. Then you can render the web view as an image, which can also be useful if you like to get something saved. You can fill in form fields. And for Mac, we have a download delegate, so you can get a script triggered if the user clicks on a link and it triggers a download, so you can actually see where the download is going and show a progress bar. And we have functions to query cookies. So cookies are little text pieces stored on your computer. So if you run a login form, it may take your username password, generate a token, and put it in a cookie. Then you can use the plugin functions to get the cookie and use it with insert from URL or our curl functions to download something from the website. Then we have a lot of JSON functions. The MBS plugin comes with 90 JSON functions with a focus on performance. We have functions to convert between JSON and XML. So if you get one version and you like to get it in the other format, you can do that with the plugin. You can also convert to the quick list and back. So if you have a JSON array and you like to process the individual JSON items, you can split the array quickly in a list and later assemble it back. Then we have search in a JSON with James parse or JSON parse queries and replace. And that can be very useful if you, for example, like to make a query in a big JSON block and get certain records back. You can apply filters of different kinds. You can rename the keys. You can apply a sort operation here, and you can do a lot of nice. And the replace function is also getting extended for the next version of the plugin, so you can actually run a FileMaker calculation to build the JSON to replace. We can do JSON diffs and patches, so you can get the difference between two JSON. And then you can see the difference, and you can apply the patch to the original JSON again and get the second JSON. So this is more kind of thing. The diff thing can be useful if you have the old JSON, the new JSON, and you want to know what changed. The patch thing can be useful if you only send the diff over the wire to another computer and they want to reconstruct what changes you made.
All right, so good. All right, well, that makes sense. For those of you wondering about the conversation with Rick Kalman last Thursday, we were talking about the XML, and this is where this diff stuff comes in, where you could patch a FileMaker file. Well, he's talking about JSON here. That's if the FileMaker file was JSON or XML in some way, you could actually patch, change layouts or add a layout or add a table or add a functionality by just applying a patch. And that's kind of where Claris is trying to go. I don't know when they get there in totality, but it's a major delivery bullet point for them. And they talked about that last Thursday. So,
okay, let's talk about curl. Curl is a library to do transfers with HTTP or FTP protocols. We also use it for email sending. And with the plugin, you can run curl transfers in FileMaker, but you can also run background transfers. And that's a fantastic way to perform things in the background. And the user doesn't need to wait for your transfer to finish.
Okay, so he just said the word async. Hey, David Angel and other people, he just said the word asynchronously without saying the word asynchronously. So that's what that was. So performed in the background, aka asynchronously. So
yeah, we have a trigger. You can configure to get a script triggered if the transfer is finished, or you can have different scripts for failed or success states. So you can fire your transfer, it runs in the background. FileMaker can do whatever it likes to show dialogues. You can work on the layout, and then later a script is triggered when the transfer is done. Then we have a function to process relative URLs. So if you have a URL, a base URL, and a relative URL, you can get a new full URL, which can be useful if you process web pages. Then we got WebSocket support for the curl functions. So if you have a client asking you to connect with a WebSocket to a WebSocket server, you can send data and receive data with our plugin. Then we have widgets, little devices, sensors you can use with a plugin. The widget company produces this little devices connected with USB or Bluetooth to your Mac or PC. This can be sensors like temperature, or controls like the slider control there, or buttons. It can also be NFC readers, RFID readers. It can be motors. So you can build something custom for your clients and control it with the plugin. So here's a list of sensors, but there are more, I think. So
I'm sure there's quite a few, yeah.
You need to have a capacitive touch button, or you need a weather station. You can build that. You can also just use analog digital input-output. So the digital output could, for example, connect to relay and control your garage and open the door there. But you can also
you said open the well, okay, yeah. I would really like an electric door lock. I keep harping on Hans about that, but where you kind of have a, like some of these corporation, like you go to Apple and you hit the thing and it click and it unlocks the door for you. I would love that, but I want to build it myself with this. I'm not sure which lock.
So you need an electronic lock for your door.
Yes.
And it needs to have somewhere a cable coming out where you
in the
put
wall or
power
something.
on a certain pin to
Yep.
lock and another one to unlock, and then you could control this with a fidget station here. So Mac and Windows. Some people really like it. Then MongoDB. We had a live stream on this previously.
Yep.
If you have any client using MongoDB, you can connect it directly with the plugin, query data, insert and update, delete records, whatever you need to do there, the normal database operations. We have special functions to process containers to the binary data for the JSON to send to the database, as well as unpacking them to get your container values.
Okay.
Same for time functions, which we can convert from the format used by MongoDB to the formats in FileMaker.
Okay.
And we have a lot of options for encryption for the connection, where you can specify certificate files. So you can connect to a server which requires TSL encryption for the connection, and you want to verify with a certificate whether it's really the server, and the server wants to verify whether it's really you. And we have a lot of options for logging. So if anything goes wrong, the MongoDB functions can write a log file, and you can look for the details about what's going on. Then we have the functions for working with Excel documents, read and write Excel documents in the old or the new format. And this requires the libxl library, which you can also order on our website. It's an additional license. And we have new functions for working on form controls. So if you have an Excel file with form controls, like a pop-up menu or button, you can control them with the plugin. Also, we got functions to read and write styled text. So if you need to write a text with formatting to an Excel document, you can do that. You can also do SQL in FileMaker, get it into a matrix as a way to store the data in memory, and then have the matrix go into Excel cells, so you can make a query in FileMaker to grab 1,000 records and put them in your Excel document with 2 lines. The libxl license is required, and we have it on the website. Then we got functions for Windows PDF. So Microsoft brings a PDF engine with Windows 10 and 11, and we can use it in a plugin to load a PDF document from a container or file. You can ask for the page count and the sizes of the pages, and then you can render previews and show them as pictures in a container. For Mac, we have PDFKit functions, and with standard PDF, we can do the same cross-platform. Then we have the preview functions. So the plugin can add a control to the layout in FileMaker. FileMaker doesn't know about this control, but the control is there, and it can show you the content of a PDF file. So if you need to display a PDF file in your FileMaker solution without using Acrobat Reader, or depending on a browser plugin, you can use this functionality. And it doesn't rebuild when you switch layouts, so you can have a PDF stay open while the user goes through records. And it can show a PDF on Windows because it uses Windows PDF features coming with Windows 10 or 11. There's no save button, so the user can't steal your PDF. And it doesn't need a web viewer, so we're very happy. And it doesn't need Adobe Reader installed. So perfect, especially if you use an older FileMaker version.
Does this work without DynaPDF? Because a lot of your PDF
Yes.
stuff is dependent upon DynaPDF.
Yeah, works with our DynaPDF. It's using what Microsoft ships with Windows. And on Mac, the preview control can even do more file types, like Word documents or 3D files, text files. So then we got list dialog. The list dialog is great if you need a picker to pick something from a list. And this got improved last year with checkboxes. So you can have checkboxes. The user can search for something with a filter, can pick some items with check marks, and then later you can ask all the checked items. or they can just click on an item in the list and pick it. You can have several columns if you need to show, for example, the name and maybe another value like age or address or whatever. And the filter allows the user to search for several things, so they can just type a few letters, make a space, type a few more letters, and it can perform a search. Then we have a couple of smaller things in the plugin. Like I put a lot of work in to get the WebP support, so you can just have another file format you can read and write images with. And if you have a web CRM and you need the WebP format, you can now convert your pictures to that with the plugin. On Mac and iOS, you can use the photo picker to get images from your photo library into FileMaker. Just another button you can add next to a container field to have the user pick something on a Mac and add it, well, to the container. If you use iCloud for file synchronization or a similar service like Dropbox, on Mac, you can also query the status of the file, whether it's downloaded already or needs uploading, and you can trigger a download if needed or evict the file so the space on the disk gets freed.
Okay, so I have to have a question. So I have never used the word eviction with anything besides throwing someone out of their house. So what is eviction? Like, is it the process of removing it or deleting it, or we're canceling the account?
You have a file in your iCloud account. It's on the server and on your Mac's disk.
Okay.
And now you can say evict, and it's removed on your Mac. So it doesn't need the space on the disk. It's still shown because the file exists in the cloud and you can download it again.
So eviction is a getting rid of the local kind of copy, but it's still there because if you ask for it, it'll re-download it back to your. For those of you in Dropbox, and he's got Dropbox up here, same thing. You can have things that are local copies are preserved, or maybe only online copies, right? So that's what he's talking about.
This makes it online only.
Okay, I had not heard that word. Is that an industry standard word, eviction? Is that how?
Well, it's what Apple uses in the API, so I use it too.
Okay, so Apple uses it. It's not like you just made it up at Monkey Bread. Okay, got
it. No, I don't do that.
Well, you
so then, another thing, if you have any XML, any JSON, or something in a matrix data structure with the plugin, you can ask the plugin to produce the HTML output so you can show it with a web viewer. We love to show people JSON or an XML nicely colored. But yeah, it looks nice. So we made identify data functions for Richard, so you can know what's in an image file.
Yes, I needed that. Thank you.
And if you have a list in the plugin, you can shuffle it, so you can randomize the order of the entries and make a little game, maybe. And there are a couple of enhancements to the FileMaker script workspace.
By the way, I want to warn everyone that some of these are free. And to be very honest with you, you start using his plugin and you get these script workspace enhancements, and suddenly you go to a new computer that doesn't have Monkey Bread installed and you wonder why FileMaker is so barren and broke. Then you realize that you're addicted to Monkey Bread. You must have Monkey Bread, otherwise your life is hell, right? So specifically for me, the variables. I'm very addicted to Monkey Bread.
So 40 goodies, they are explained on the website. We had a live stream about that. And we got a few new things. Like last year, we added the command links with
those are good.
Script. So you can jump around in your scripts. You can copy variables and field values in the debugger with the context menu. So you just right click on the variable name or on the field name, and then you can copy the value.
I did not know that one. So, all right.
Yeah. Also, the tooltip shows you the value. Can be very useful.
Okay, declaring value.
Then we have the variable check, and you can actually define a variable name in a comment before the let statement, so you can tell the plugin what variables are defined in the let statement.
Hmm.
And this way we can include them in the check. Then we got hotkeys in the relationship graph. So
Hmm.
if you like to align things left or right,
Okay.
yeah.
I've not used
So,
that. I've not used that.
okay, so you select several items,
Mhm.
and then usually you would you would use the button on the
Yeah, way
bottom
down at the
to
bottom. Yeah.
say align left, align right, align top, bottom, whatever.
Mm.
And we got hotkeys for that, so you can just press something like Command Control cursor keys and
Okay.
have the thing align.
All right.
Then we got something for Windows.
This is just
Yeah,
for Lynn from Austin. Lynn from Austin, are you still here?
this is
That's
that.
very important
So
because
I
for
was
you.
able to make a search for the relationship graph for Windows. So you get a search box there. And for the script search, we got this little sample file to copy the current script into this file and then do the search there because, well, we can just parse the XML and allow you to search that. So it can tell you which line it is, and then you can go back to the script workspace and look up the line number. And we got a snippet database, which works on Mac and Windows. And on Windows, the nice thing is you can just use a hotkey to bring up the dialog, pick your snippet, and then paste it into your script.
All right.
Then we got a format button for the calculation. So if you have a big calculation, which doesn't look as nice as you would like it to have, there's this little F button on the toolbar there on the
But that
bottom
one,
right.
I've never used that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So if you click it, you get the
oh,
thing
much better.
formatted.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet.
So I've been tuning this from version to version, so it gets better every time.
Mm.
People complain to me about something not being correct, so I'm trying to make it better. But it's having a readable standard for calculations, so they are intended correctly.
All right. What else?
And then I localized the preferences dialog. So here's the Spanish version.
Okay.
So I got all the 11 languages in FileMaker. I think I even made 12. There's also a Polish version.
Really?
So if you enjoy the localization and you find a typo, please send me an email so I can fix it because I don't speak all the 12 languages.
Hot Air Balloon Ken wants to know if there's a way for us to go back and adjust that auto formatting thing here. And he just said
Currently not.
not, right? I mean, Ken, do you really want to do that? I mean, if it gets obviously press the button, it'd be much better than what you had before, right? But I mean, I don't, it seems like a lot of work to try to do the,
Yeah, we had the idea I could maybe make some options like whether you like tab or spaces or whether you prefer it more being in one line or prefer multiple lines, you know. We'll see. So we're coming to the end. There's a website, there's a documentation page, a blog, there's a video page, and you can sign up for a newsletter or a trial license on the website.
all right, can you go back a slide? One slide, go back one more. Now more. I want to get my favorite feature. Go back some more. Go back. Right. One more. There we go. Enhancements. Now go forward now. All right. So in here in the script workspace enhancements, the number one thing that I use is that I am typing in code and I'm writing some code and I want to do dollar dollar and I want it to tell me about a variable that's already defined and it'll pop up on a list of like the variables that you've recently done, right? If you define them
Yeah.
at the top, right? And it'll pop up a little list here, which is so awesome, right?
Oh,
Wow.
I can fix it.
My favorite fact about this is that Nick Hunter, who many of you are familiar with, swore off using plugins forever. Like that's been like a major theme with him for the past many, many, many years. And
Decades.
then one of our files auto-downloaded MBS form because we put that in a lot of our files these days. And then he discovered the variable thing, and he had a whole. I have to find it for you some point,
See
Christian. He had a
that?
whole. He lamented on stream that he could no longer live without the MBS plugin because it autofilled his variables for him.
So the good thing with the globals is that we remember them
See,
over
see,
scripts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh, uh,
if the plugin saw it before on a different file, yeah, on a different script, it will remember them.
Back up. So let me ask a question about this since we're here. So I do some work. I code a bunch of stuff. I go home for the day. I shut down the computer, or maybe I restart it, whatever. I come back and I go
Then
back
it
to the
forgets it.
script. Is it going to remember the previous variables from the previous session, or
No, no, no. It's just in memory. So
so whatever
here.
variables it sees? It
Mhm.
sees, Monkey Bread sees. So if I open a script, I don't edit the script. I open a script that's already built, and it defines a variable, like defines these variables here. If I just open this up, I don't define it. If I open the script, is it gonna learn? Okay, so
So
then
let's see. The question is when it triggers. No. So I have to actually go into a script line and actually use the dollar thing. So it scans the script.
okay, so that's where it's gonna learn it from. Okay,
So
well
now, now it has this two on the list.
Mhm.
And if I go to a different one here, I can just type dollar and have the two.
Yeah. But if he quits and reopens and goes and does this, like he quits the app and reopens it, it's not going to remember those previous ones, right? Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it's, I will say it's not perfect, but super helpful, super helpful, super
So
helpful.
now here is nothing coming because,
Yeah,
well,
because we haven't
I haven't seen
defined
one.
it here. Yeah, so we have to go over here. We have to
No,
go into here. Man, there ought to be a way. Boy, I tell you. For that thing to remember in the file the ones you've used. I'm not trying to add work for you, Christian. I'm just thinking out of the box. It's like, wow, that'd be great if it could remember. Or you could have a way of like a function called to scan the variables in the file, and then you're like all up to date.
well, I could at least change it. I just noticed I could change it that if you see it and we run our variable check anyway,
hmm
why not remember it then when we see it?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, if you open the script and there was 5 or 10 of them in there, and it just like, oh, I see those now. I'm going to remember them. That
Yeah.
would be an upgrade. That would be nice. So
That's enhanced
anyway,
easy
so
to
this
do.
is my favorite. Of unfortunately or fortunately, this is my favorite feature of the whole product. So
You can also just, as I said, make a comment here and say, what was it?
we could define it in there, right?
That variable,
Yeah.
let's say P, I think it was at variable. Yeah,
Mm.
there's
Yeah,
P.
pi, yeah.
And pay what pi is not a variable, it's a constant. So you
Ah,
can
that's
write constant variable. And what's the third one? Oh
constant
no,
um,
parameter.
parameters.
So
Yes.
that was the idea that you may have a custom function to read parameters from the
Mm,
script parameter and then fill them in variables.
mm.
And then you can tell the plugin about it. So like here, the ABC. So, and then we go again, here we have all the names from the comments and from the set variable lines.
For those of you wondering about this conversation a little bit, so last week, last time on this show, not on this show, but Rick Kalman we were talking to Rick Kalman, and he was talking about quality of life improvements, and this is one of those quality of life improvements that Claris could do, but Christian Schmidt's already solved a lot of these for us. So this right here, I never really notice unless something's really broke that Monkey Bread's not installed, except when I try to do variables and I get really pissed that it's not helping me. I'm like, damn it, this is supposed to help me. Then I wait a minute, it's Monkey Bread. And wait a minute, this is a new computer. It's like, oh, I got to install that.
So
So,
usually you may write something like here on top of your
mhm.
function, will write this function, this script does X, and then you may
Yep.
write uses global variables, and then you can list all the global variables it uses.
hmm
Yeah, dollar user, dollar account, whatever.
So it's learning it from that right there in the
Yeah,
comments as well.
that
Okay.
would help. And then you can actually start your script, usually work on it. And, again, you can add constants, and you can have here maybe a custom function to set parameters and then tell the plugin about whatever variable is defined in a let statement. Yeah, also you can specify it right in the calculation. So you can say here at variable $, what is count, a dollar count,
Okay.
and then let dollar count as 1, 2, 3 for
Yep.
So the
Well,
plugin can know about the count.
that's pretty awesome.
Let's see. I have to show you count.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Well, one of the high value things, and if Nick is a believer in this, then that's a big deal. So, well, we're kind of out of time. I'm not trying to cut him short, but that right there was to me the piece that I almost immediately noticed when we don't have it. So, is there any other essential? How many more slides do we have? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, this was finished here.
Okay.
Finished.
Okay. Well, wow, he's
So,
barely made it. So. As that happens, I ask questions, and other people have questions. Before long, you're talking to your customers, right? Today was an Monkey Bread Compendium from David Angel. Yes, good stuff. And then tomorrow, Margaret, what's on the tap for tomorrow? It's tomorrow. Oh, it's a more mechanical coding, kind of
Yes.
beginners a little bit, but it's for you, Margaret. So everyone is at like a junior mid-level person. Tomorrow's another great day for that. All right, Christian Schmidt, anything else?
no, thanks.
Awesome. As a reminder, if I share my screen here real quick, I'll share my screen. There's Christian right there. If you want to support the channel, not support me so much, but go to Monkey Bread Software. Go down here, check out the FileMaker plugin. If you buy it now, it's $1.25 per user per month. Just pick that group, but that's super inexpensive. And that keeps him gainfully employed and off the streets, so he's not in the gang. All right, well, good job, Christian. Hey, thank you.
See you at the next conference.
Yeah, I know. They keep trying to get me to go to Europe for the next conference. I'm not the big world traveler. So that's my problem. I don't travel well. It's like your cat doesn't travel well. It's like,
But now you have 12 conferences for this year.
12. Are you doing all 12?
No.
Doing probably half of those 6? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, tomorrow will be another awesome day, everyone. See you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thank Chris Schmidt. Make sure you support the channel. Check out FM Trainer TV. Until then, see ya.